Hello, denizens of the internet. Your former network executive reaction to Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 1. There will be spoilers, and this reaction will be in the form of many questions because, obviously, I can't undo having watched the original Trek through to its movies and spin-offs, so I need your help. Those of you less jaded, perhaps any of you for whom Strange New Worlds is so far your first and only Trek, what are your thoughts? My disappointments generally are a reaction to wishing it could have been better. I confess I watched Discovery with dread and Season 1 of Strange New Worlds with apprehension. Season 2, Episode 1 contained a decent story with ridiculous plotting, but right from the start with its opening flyby of the docked Enterprise, was anyone bothered by the tiny spaceships that flitted about as if they were flying crop dusters on Earth? Doesn't anyone on the effects crew have a momentum inertia option in their 3D software? I'm asking you fans of S&W, would having some real science hurt the show? Was it a network exec who asked for more swoopy, zoomy spaceships because they thought it would be cool? Yes, I know the Enterprise has inertia dampeners, but to what degree can they affect a vessel with the mass of the Enterprise? It bothers the living out of me. It takes me out of the show. So much has happened in space exploration between TOS in the 60s and now. I would think that working within the limitations of what physics provides would add endless plotting devices unless you're a lazy writer and just wants to get to the pew, 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 pew as soon as possible. There is nothing wrong with a languid Trek, folks. My gosh, I'm hard to please. So, back to this little mess of a show. First, they got rid of Pike by having him go off and save Una from losing her Federation credentials by not revealing that she was really a genetically modified Illyrian. And you know how much we hate GMOs. Not really life or death, but we all love Una. But with all the lesbians and non-binary crew member on S&W, what happened to the diversity rules? Are the producers Illyrian phobic? And isn't La'an Noonien Singh related to Khan Noonien Singh? And wasn't he also GMO? So why isn't La'an in the Hooskow? Maybe Robert Meyer Burnett can tell us. My Star Trek Kung Fu is not nearly as good as his. Anyway, Pike puts Spock in charge of the Enterprise while it's in dry dock. Spock gets the heebie-jeebies, heads over to the crew's designated mumbler, Dr. Mbenga, who tells him that Spock's encounter with the Gorn in Season 1 caused his human side to overwhelm his Vulcan Tacturn side, leaving him a weepy mess, especially when he encounters Nurse Chapel. This was a major retcon, as this is the Spock from TOS. When we get the horrific scene featuring employees of the Federation IT department being rebuffed by the much smarter women of the Enterprise's bridge, the insufferable Ortegas has patched her navigation controls that makes it way better than what the boys built. Yes, try repatching a modern-day iPhone, girl. I dare you. That was followed by not Uhura giving an IT geek a hard time. On one hand, where is the military decorum? And two, why so rude to people who are just doing their job? Is it because they are radicalized toxic white males in a position of privilege due to their colonial supremacy? Score 1 for lesbians and black women. Is this just me tilting at ghosts? No. You just know the writers were high-fiving themselves for this brilliant exchange. Then we get the secret subspace transmission from La'an to the Enterprise that poop is going to fly on a dilithium mining planet being run by Klingons, and she's in trouble. Spock is turned down by Admiral April to go check on La'an. April has now taken on the role of the cliché black police captain who tells his out-of-control detective to stay out of it. Spock decides that they need to steal the Enterprise from dry dock and go rescue La'an. I would complain about this utter nonsense, except that was how Picard Season 3 started. I hated it there also, but whatever. I really couldn't stand this segment, and it got worse when the wonderful Carol Kane, playing Pelia, was dragged into this subterfuge and then vomited out a torrent of self-serving, impossibly stupid exposition as to how she knew they were bullshitting, but how she won't snitch on them because she's always wanted some adventure. Dear Lord. The crew land on the mining planet. It's one ugly open-pit mine. A combo of Starfleet and Klingon capitalists want to instigate a fake war so they can increase the profits of the mine. There's nothing worse than profits, kids. We briefly meet the kid La'an saved from the Gorn, reunited with their, you guessed it, lesbian parents. Yep, modern audiences. M'Benga and Chapel are captured. There was a scene where the Klingon could not understand anything M'Benga said, and neither could we. They have to get to the communications section of the Mystery Federation starship in hiding. Luckily, M'Benga has green liquid stuff they can inject that turns them super strong for a short period of time, where they dispense with Klingon soldiers like they were looting a Target store. The bad Klingons, who are badder than the regular bad Klingons, plan on attacking a Klingon D7 class, causing an all-out war between the Feds and the Klings. But Spock and crew, who have been hiding in a floating sea of giant iron crystals that prevents the D7 from seeing them, goes after the rogue Federation vessel. They have to blow it up first, but Chapel is on the Federation ship and Spock can't bring himself to shoot it down. But Ortega yells that they have only one chance left, and Spock gives a weepy command to take it down. Of course, M'Benga and Chapel escape without spacesuits, but holding some kind of transmitting device which lets the Enterprise spot them and beam them back on board. Chapel is a popsicle, and Spock gives her CPR. Lucky for her, and the 15% she gives to her agent, she revives. The penultimate scene between Spock and the Klingons, who are happy that war was averted, was probably the best thing in the show. In the final scene between Admiral April, it might as well have been Captain Dobie from Starsky and Hutch. You two, try doing that again and I'll have your badges. Now, get out of here, you crazy fools. My final thoughts are, Strange New Worlds really shows up the utter incompetence of the stable of Kurtzman Trek writers. Star Trek Discovery had a clean sheet. And other than Captain Lorca and maybe Saru and the airlifting in of Captain Pike, they didn't generate any meaningful, interesting new characters. In SNW, they have several OG Star Trek personnel, and it's the only thing that makes this barely tolerable. So, denizens, I'm really interested in hearing from those of whom SNW is their first Trek. What did you think of it? Till next time, be seeing you.